German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier visited Ghana this week. He was accompanied by a high-ranking business delegation. To look at the background to this visit, we're joined now by our DW correspondent Hans Brandt in Berlin. Hans, how are you doing? But let's start really with some of the key issues that have come up. Why exactly is Germany focusing on Ghana at this point in time?
I think Ghana is seen as a reliable partner, as a stable partner, economically and politically stable in West Africa, in a region that as a whole is not necessarily seen as particularly stable and reliable. So it's important that Ghana has this role in its neighborhood. It's a relationship that has gone back for many, many decades. It's been a reliable and trusted relationship for a very long time. I think what one sees in the development of relations with Ghana is that increasingly there is an exchange also on matters such as science and education, scientific cooperation on issues such as joint vaccination programs, for instance, educational cooperation, and also an increased economic exchange, of course, which was emphasized by the fact that such an important business delegation accompanied the president to Ghana.
Now, let's focus on the issue of migration. I know that Europe is very concerned about people from West Africa moving into Europe in search of better future. What exactly is the findings you have about this?
Yes, migration is a central issue for European countries, for Germany as well, and something that is always discussed in all contacts with countries in West Africa, also in contacts with Ghana. There are many, many young men, especially that cross through the Sahara and the Mediterranean, or from Senegal, for instance, across the sea to European islands, trying to get into Europe and trying to find work there and to be able to send money back home. Many of these people are not really welcome in Europe, and many European countries try desperately to send them back home to their home countries, for which agreements are necessary with those home countries. That's something that Ghana and Germany have agreed on in the past. At the same time, Germany emphasizes, and Ghana emphasizes as well, that migration is not necessarily a bad thing, that migrants from West Africa, from Ghana, can be welcome in Germany if they bring the kinds of skills, the kinds of training that Germany requires, that Germany would welcome. This does not necessarily mean university education. It also includes trade skills such as electricity, for instance, electronics, or skills in care jobs, in hospital jobs, that sort of thing. That's something, an area in which Germany and Ghana want to increase cooperation and exchange.
Well, I also know that the German president is visiting other African countries as well. What prospects really are there for cooperation between Europe and Africa?
Yes, Africa is obviously a neighboring continent to Europe. They have centuries of contact, of cooperation, of joint history, not always necessarily a positive history, one has to say. Colonialism is a history that both share and that both have to overcome still today. But at the same time, Germany and Europe are very interested in doing trade and doing business with Africa. Africa is a huge market. It's a very young continent with a lot of dynamic young people, and as a result, a market that German and international companies are interested in. And the development of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the reduction of barriers between various countries in Africa, means that trade and exchange of goods within Africa is becoming easier. So that is becoming more attractive. At the same time, I think one must say that there is some sort of great power rivalry in Africa going on. China has been very active in Africa in recent years, and that is something that I think European powers, European countries don't always agree with. So they want to retain their influence and their contacts, their exchanges with African countries. It's against this background that the German president first visited Egypt, then went on to Ghana and further on to Angola, all of these countries, in order to increase these kinds of contacts and exchanges with the African continent.
Thank you so much, Hans, for your time joining us all the way from Berlin.